I've been running around with this frequency in the background that I'm not lovable and I'm not the one. Every relationship, even if I manifest the most incredible dream relationship, it's gonna end. Emotions is huge. We're taught from a very young age to suppress our emotions and not communicate anything that's uncomfortable. I'm definitely a recovering bypasser of emotions. Those were not allowed. Those were scary. The work that I've done with you allows us to meet that emotion: fear, anger, sadness, grief, shame, whatever it is.
Today's episode is so especially meaningful to me because it highlights the journey from student to space holder with one of my favorite students, Lulu, who is part of Swell Woman Retreats, and she's also someone who has walked her own healing path from the inside out. This conversation is about what happens when women step into community, trust their inner call, and allow themselves to be supported, and then realize they're meant to support others too. So if you've ever wondered whether you're ready or felt the tension between healing yourself and leading others, this episode will meet you exactly where you are. And Lulu is the definition of embodiment. I have watched her walk through the depths of her shadow, continually coming home to her light, meeting all of her edges, and then holding others through the same. So it is a deep honor to have and hold space with Lulu today. Let's dive in. Yeah. So excited to have you on the podcast. It's been a year in the making. Miss Lulu from Hawaii, traveling the world.
Thank you so much, Chelsi. I really appreciate your time and this invite and an opportunity to just connect with you deeper.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. So Lulu has become one of my clients over the years, but also one of my really good friends. And we have a big mission to share that we're going to be talking about in this podcast. But Lulu's got a really cool story. So walk me through what got you from Hawaii into my class in Bali.
Oh my God, you want me to start there? Okay, cool. So, I'm going to back up just a little bit. I would say that I've been on a personal quest, and I'm the biggest human experiment on the planet Earth to create heaven on earth. And so in that, my journey started around 27 years old, where I'm just seeking spiritual guidance and healing and all these beautiful things to bring me back to my light. Because up until about 27 years old, I realized that there was a lot of fear and a lot of creating from a place that was more of self-sabotage than, very confident in the business field, but self-sabotage. And so, I remember the first time I thought I was walking into like a little inner child workshop, and I had my journal and I was like, ready to go, ready to do the work from here. And all of a sudden you're like, and you're going to lay down on the mat. I was like, for what? So it was really interesting to have that first experience, because in that moment, it was an inner child healing. I'm sure you remember it. It was wild with the thunderstorm and everything. And it was the first time that I was ever guided to connect to the younger version of myself, not from here, but from my body, and to feel what she felt as this little girl experiencing these things that ultimately shaped this belief system that really didn't serve me. And so I've been working from the head up for a very long time, and spiritually, but still was missing some things, because I love the work that you do, because it's in resonance of the work I do, which is really like, what are these triggers trying to show us? Why am I constantly being triggered? And what does that mean about me? Right? And so I had a grasp of my limiting beliefs that were keeping me safe and living in fear. And I was done. And so it was the perfect divine timing to enter into something that was really getting into the body, very somatic, and energy work, releasing. Like I had big, huge releases. And then just the dreams that happened after, it like connected all of the dots and really brought me to a place where I understood and I could actually feel my inner child and the wounding and the emotions, and understand how that shaped me, but from a visceral level versus from here, understanding, like conceptualizing, right? So I was able to really forgive myself. And then, of course, I followed you around like a little puppy going, oh my God, I need more of this. What is going on? And so I delved deep. I had a month left, and I was literally at every single one of your classes and so curious. And then that led me to the invite to go down to Uluwatu, where you're like, hey, I'm doing this photo shoot and, come down and experience more energy. And I was like, okay. And then that's when, even a deeper level of healing happened. And then I was called, and it just was divine timing, because we had that car ride in the car, and I was like, I'm being called to be trained by you. Are you doing training yet? And you're like, I'm thinking about it. And it was just like crazy, because here we are. And on Friday, we're literally entering into the 10-day intensive in-person training. So it's funny how my whole life has been, it's like these chapters. And this is a really different chapter that I'm moving into.
It's really
It's-
amazing.
Woo!
Yeah. And the top-down approach is great, right? Therapy is great. Anybody that's in therapy, I am not saying that that's not the way. It's obviously a great starting point, but we can't think our way through the trauma. Unfortunately, the memory lives in the fascia and the tissues. It's in the body.
Yeah.
And when you start to talk about, the thing about the brain is when you're thinking about those old memories,
Mm-hmm.
you're reliving them. Your
Yeah.
body does not understand. Like the past and the future only exist in your imagination
Mm-hmm.
and how we experience them and how we believe they were.
Yeah.
But the emotional complexities and all of that energy is stored in the body. And a lot of us know from our heads, like you said, yeah, I was abandoned, I was rejected, I was betrayed, I was abused. But have you felt what that felt like to the body? Because when we go into fear, when we shut down the nervous system, the body isn't actually able to unravel that energy, and it stays there until we recreate it over and over and over and over and over again until it's time to shift through that.
And just by doing this work and learning how to facilitate, it's been amazing because it's closed a cycle. I'm not repeating patterns anymore. I mean, I'm getting triggered, but I feel like I'm now getting triggered in real time and it's not really attached. Maybe a little bit. I mean, we're constantly doing the work, but now it's like I'm actually present with what's happening and I can decipher through it and then work with the body to release it. Emotions is huge. We're taught from a very young age to suppress our emotions and not communicate anything that's uncomfortable, at least for me. So I'm definitely a recovering bypasser of emotions that are uncomfortable. Those were not allowed. Those were scary, right? The work that I've done with you allows us to meet that emotion exactly what it is, whether it's fear, anger, sadness, grief, shame, whatever it is.
Right. And when we're working with the mental stuff, right? Like we always say, you read Wayne Dyer's book, Change Your Thoughts, Change Your Life. Yeah,
Mhm.
I understand that. Your thoughts create your feelings. Feelings are the words of the soul because you really can't explain in words the soul. For anybody that hasn't done soul work, I know that's a confusing thing, but feelings really are everything. How you feel will change how you act. If you're feeling shit and you get cut off in traffic, you're probably going to flip someone off. Whereas if you're feeling pretty good and someone cuts you off, you may go, okay, right. You're going to take action depending on how you feel.
Yeah.
And those actions add up over time.
Totally.
And that's your life.
Mhm.
And people are like, oh, my life. And we become a victim of circumstances because we become a victim to old energy rather than recognizing we're a divine creator.
Exactly.
Your life is your creation.
Yeah. We're spiritual architects of our lives. I heard that once and I was like, yeah, that's it. We are the spiritual architects of our lives and we get to create whatever we want. But if there's in the background the separation from love and light and fear and these limiting beliefs, if they're driving the bus, then we're going to keep repeating patterns until something happens and you're like, oh. The only thing that hasn't changed in every relationship that I've gone through that represents my dad is me. So what is it in me that's attracting this? And it's pretty fascinating. I mean, I've always been, since very young, 20s, like really attracted to the power of manifestation and spiritual. I was very, very comfortable in the spiritual world. And then I'd enter my body and I'm like, what's going on?
It's wild.
It's wild.
Really cool.
And then the things we do to our bodies.
Let's talk about that. So 27, big catalyst for you.
Mm-hmm.
What was the big change that happened at 27 that caused you to step more into this path?
At 19 or 18, going to college, and I had a sense of freedom and new beginnings and drank my first drinks. And I was like interested in boys finally and all these things, right? So it was like this big experiment. And as soon as I had a drink, I became funny and relaxed and sensual and sassy and all these things that I wasn't. I was very serious, very reserved, super introverted. Sports brought me out of that a lot, but still overachiever, perfection, didn't want to say anything wrong or do anything wrong. It was the good girl, And so I found the bad girl. It's bad. And then at 27, I was sick of my own shit. And there was definitely moments leading up to that where the drinking was too much, car accident, embarrassment, shame, all of these things. And I was just like, I'm done. And so immediately I knew that there was a link between the relationship that I had with my father and the pain that was going on in my body and the abuse that I was causing myself, the self-sabotage and all of that. And it's really interesting because my first reaction was to just cut off the pain. So I cut off my father. And it was like, now I'm free. But you're never free.
Mhm.
You can cut off the physical person, but I'm a runner. So if things are uncomfortable or I don't like the way I'm feeling or, I don't like the way a relationship's going, there's also this, I'm just like, done, next, right? I didn't like being vulnerable, hated feeling vulnerable. So the minute I felt like I was falling in love with someone, because that was my biggest weakness. I was very, very successful businesswoman. I've always had a really good career path, solid career path, manifesting whatever I want. But when it came to relationships, because it's in resonance with my father wounding, I was attracting disaster after disaster after disaster, and a lot of drug addicts. And
Well, what was it like at home for you growing up? What was the relationship between your mom and your dad that you saw?
My mom and dad were amazing in their best possible way, and I have learned to love them so much. Now they've passed, but growing up, it was a very strict Catholic family. Also, I have a lot of Catholic wounding, that whole thing. My mom was the protective lioness. She was a stay-home mom. She took care of everything. She protected us and shielded us from my dad's temper. My dad had a really hot temper. And we were also I grew up in the area where, physical punishment is definitely like, if one child disobeys, then the whole group of us got punished and spanked and pick your poison, whether it's a whip or a spoon or whatever it is, the paddle, and so those times, I think they fuck you up. Well, am I allowed to say that?
Yeah, of course you are. Yeah, they do
really
fuck you up. Abuse.
fuck you up.
It's abuse.
And verbal abuse. My dad, it's really interesting to understand his history and the way he grew up. And then to see that he was blessed, in his mind, cursed, with 3 girls 11 months apart. And eventually I discovered that, I put the pieces of the puzzle together of why he hated me so much. And that was because my mom was got pregnant before marriage. And that was forced. That marriage was like, they were together for 7 years, but it was I feel like it was forced. And there's little pieces of the story that have come out. So imagine this little innocent baby, in the womb space, and she's not wanted, right? And your dad is angry, and now he's cursed with like 3 girls that reminds him of the family that he grew up in. And it's just like, it's really fascinating, the stories. But it also shaped me for who I am today. So it made me like, certain areas super confident and successful and driven. And, and my mom was amazing, but watching my mom and the mom and dad dynamic didn't set a very good precedent for, there was a lot of kissing and holding hands and there was intimacy, but there was also a lot of anger and telling her to, shut up and her voice is not important and things like that. So it was, everyone's story is just, it's probably,
And then we repeat them.
And then we have to go and heal them. So first we go into self-sabotage because, whatever. And then life just seems really empty. And so at 27, I was like, I'm done with this behavior. Like, I feel like I'm a prisoner of something that I don't understand. And so I never did like any kind of, psychiatrist or therapist or anything like that. I always went the spiritual path. And I was definitely a woo-woo girl, secretly behind the scenes, and going to see tarot card readers and doing past life regressions at, 20 in my 20s, and super fascinated by the whole spiritual realm and the way that healing could take place in my life. So that's always been my path.
And then you created Rock Your Bliss at what age?
So I was in the corporate world, and then at the age of 32, I was given the opportunity to become the vice president of Latin America. I was living in Chile at the time, and I was like, "Is this it?" And I knew that whole all of those years was to try to win my dad's love, and that just wasn't that. I was just like, if this is it, I don't want it anymore. Mm-hmm. So that's when I decided to pursue a path of my dreams. And I was with a partner at the time, and we moved to Spain. And my dream was to build a retreat center and do all these really cool things with like yoga. Yoga was a huge catalyst has been a huge catalyst in my life because it got me into my body, connecting to my breath, connecting to spirit, but mostly back into my body because I felt way more comfortable in the woo world. It's funny because all the pieces of the puzzle led me to 2014 buying Swell Women, which is the company that I run now, and I've been running it now for 11 years. But in my 20s, I experienced my first retreat and the power of going on retreat and connecting with yourself. And it was a yoga retreat. And then I traveled the world through yoga retreats. And I was like, this is what I'm being called to do. So moving to Spain, did that, but it was a huge disaster. Then I went and had a diversion and went into private chefing for many, many, many years, which was amazing because I got to use my creativity and I was very successful. And then I had a crossroads where I had an opportunity to buy Swell Women. And Swell Women is based on the Joseph Campbell, Follow Your Bliss. And it's like, yeah, that's exactly what every human being needs to do. And I've kind of shaped that into rocking your bliss because life is too short. And so if we can start working with that pain body and start healing and start living from our heart space and remember the truth of who we are, which is love and light, and to live and operate from that space, even though it may feel vulnerable and really scary, life changes. And then you're starting to really create all of your dreams coming true.
Because the manifestation is coming from the light, right? You can either consciously manifest or unconsciously manifest. You're always manifesting. So whatever's happening in your life, I hate to break it to everybody that you're watching it, your outer reality is a direct mirror of what's going on inside your heart space. So I say this all the time in the 7 areas of life: your relationship with God, your relationship with your physical body, your relationship with your emotions, and then how you connect intimately, friendship-wise, family, and at work, all begins with this.
Yeah.
All of those areas of life will change the second that you start to take control of doing what you love in a place you love with the people you love, and giving yourself permission to be authentically you. Take the masks off. But what happens is when we're kids, we come from this unconditional loving place, the womb even, right? I mean, we just get everything we need in there. We just get to soak up all that love from mom, but we're still feeling what mom's going through.
Oh, yeah.
And what dad's going through. And you're experiencing this, but consciously or unconsciously, what was happening when you were there. Now, let's go even further. You were an egg in your mom when your mom was in your grandma. So you experienced her whole life too. Wow. So if you can conceptualize how much we've been feeling and for so long, coming into this world, we already have some expectations about how we're going to get love or not. And we have free will in this life to choose whatever we want to choose. Whether we choose love or fear is what it comes down to. It's one or the other.
Yeah, and it's conscious or unconscious.
Yep. So most people's lives that are a complete clusterfuck are unconsciously stuck in their pain, choosing fear because they don't know there's another way. So energy healing, what it does is it gives you an opportunity to face those parts of yourselves that you've shamed, that you're angry about, that feel icky, whatever it is. We face the fear and then we create space for a yes, that's the bliss. But some people have never even understood what that feels like because they've spent their whole life running from no's.
Yeah, exactly.
And so that's when I ever figured out, wow, there is a force. There's something bigger than me that loves me that much. I'm not alone. The biggest fear I've had is ending up alone and trying to get my dad's permission and trying to get my mom to accept me, trying to get the whole world to accept me, trying to avoid betrayal and abuse. And all along, when I just went into alone, that was there.
Yeah.
God was there.
Yeah.
And I could fill myself up to the point where I can step out into any situation with love and light.
Yeah.
That's possible.
That is possible. And that is, I call it rocking your bliss. You call it liberating your bliss. And I think that from the moment I met you and I saw your website, I was like, she's like my soul sister. We are on the same mission, man. She's using the same words. We have the same terminology. We learned about triggers. We were talking about, it was fascinating to me. And for me, like, the more that we can step into the true essence of who we all are, there is no exception in this entire planet. And that is that we are divine, creative, amazing, human beings, but we are spiritual beings having a human experience. And so I love how you say, like, anything that you're creating in the whatever's happening in the external world is truly a reflection of what's going on in the inside. And that's when we can become really curious and become an observer. And as soon as we get into the space of curiosity, man, it opens up doors to healing and being like, oh my God, I can be free. It's true freedom. And that's rocking your bliss. For me, is like freedom, peace inside. Love and safety comes from inside, not from your external environment, And it's like, wow.
We can't control that. The external, we cannot control.
We try like hell.
Yeah, because it feels safe to think that we can predict tomorrow. But in
Yeah.
reality, what's happening in the current moment is your choice of how you are going to respond to everything going on.
Yeah.
So if your mind and body are in alignment, and if you're listening to your body's innate wisdom, which is so fucking wise, anyone experiencing hip pain in the left side, you've got mother trauma.
Yeah.
Right side, you've got father trauma. Shoulders, you're carrying too much weight.
Neck.
Yeah, neck riddled with fear. Knees,
It's
afraid to step forward in life.
It's crazy.
Right?
It's
You
crazy.
got
Our
liver
body's
issues
speaking to us.
all the time, but we don't listen because we're always here.
Yeah.
And that mind is fucking scary because I'm telling you, in the mind, the whole past and all your past experiences and all the future things that could possibly happen are all there.
But they're not real.
It's the only thing that's real is right here, right now.
Yeah. And we are not our stories. We are not our pain. We are not these beliefs. All we have to do is become, I call it the curious investigator, and really look at, I think triggers shine light on on what really needs to be healed.
Can you explain a trigger?
Yeah. Like, I just ran a retreat, and, I'm holding space for five beautiful women that have come and invested in themselves, and I'm holding space. And then I come home, and usually I'm away on retreat. So I come home and Steve's there and everything's hunky-dory, but he has needs. And so now there's more demands coming on me. And inside, I'm not speaking my truth. I'm just being silent. I'm like, Jesus. And I'm almost like my body is like pushing him away. And I don't have time or the bandwidth to hug you right now. Like, what about me? Who's taking care of me, right? It's like, it's crazy. So I was highly triggered. And I didn't even know. Like, I saw myself so defensive, so reactive, pushing him away. And that made me sad. And of course, a bit shameful. Like, what am I doing? So in that trigger, I realized that I wasn't speaking my truth. I was becoming resentful because here I am holding space and no one's taking care of me. Normally, if I'm away on a retreat, I have my own space, my own room. I can go fill up my cup. I can do a chakra clearing. I can do whatever, right? But if you're coming back and then you're being demanded by your partner, then it's like, I felt like, here I am. He's my king. And yet no one's holding space for me. And I don't even have the space to be able to hold space for myself.
But did
that's
you
a
ask?
trigger. No, I never asked. Are you kidding me? I just got more upset and more upset and more upset. And then I ended up really sick because I wasn't honoring my truth. So all of that belief was, I was falling into this people pleasing. Like, if I don't take care of him and him, then he's not going to love me. And that is one of my beliefs, is that I'm not lovable. I'm not appreciated. I'm not worthy. I'm sure everyone has their things. I'm not important. So that was a real life trigger. And as soon as I started speaking my truth and asking for what I wanted, then things started to shift.
Isn't it funny what we create? Because, when I'm holding a lot of space as well, I can come home and Andre picks up a lot of the slack at the house, he gets the laundry taken care of. And it's things that I don't notice because I'm so in the holding space mode. And it's the opposite happens. He starts to be resentful for me. Because what we've done in these moments is we've made contracts with our partner that weren't signed by both parties. Because he didn't do that. Like, he did that with an expectation of, I'm going to give him attention, whatever it was, right? I'm going to be appreciative. I'm good. Whatever in his head he was doing it for, he wasn't just doing it to do it. There was an expectation, but that expectation wasn't communicated to me. And through that, resentment builds. So when resentment is present for any person, it's because you've done something where you've had an expectation that wasn't communicated to the other person, and it has nothing to do with them. So it's not when you're resentful, it's actually not Steve's fault at all.
No.
He's just telling you, I want a fucking hug.
Yeah.
And you're like,
And
I
I'm
don't
like,
have capacity,
no.
right?
But if he would have worded it like, hey, babe, you've been holding space, recognizing I'm important, right? If you've been holding space, can I give you a hug right now? Would you like a hug? Like just that flip in wording.
What about this flip? Hey, Steve, I'm going to be holding space today, and I'm going to need you to really give me a hug when I get home and ask me if I need anything. I'm taking on a lot of responsibility, and I could really use some support. How about that?
When I finally communicated that, he was like, I definitely like the thought of being your king and asking those, he just didn't know.
Right. And we're just in our heads like, he doesn't love me, he doesn't get it.
He doesn't love me.
And we make
he doesn't appreciate me.
Right. And
he's just another one of my demands. And it was like, oh my God, this beautiful creature, this beautiful human being who's in my life, he's doing the best that he can. And I didn't communicate.
Right. And the second you do, it all changes, right? So the throat will act up. So what happened? How many times have you been on retreat and something funky's happened in your body?
Bad. Because now it's fast. Now it's like if I'm going to people pleasing mode or take on too much demand and I'm not honoring my own bandwidth, my body will shut down fast. The thing that I want to mention about triggers is that we are in the habit of making it everyone else's fault. But really triggers, when we are upset, it's really not what's happening here and now. Yes, and it never excuses poor behavior or anything like that, abusive, anything. But usually it's tied to childhood stuff.
Always.
And
childhood stuff can be yesterday. That's another thing I want to actually point out.
Yeah.
Because it's not always 5-year-old you, but yes, the 0 to 7-year-old program that's running. But you could be holding energy from a week ago.
Yeah.
And it's still an inner child.
Oh, yeah. No, it's definitely like accumulative.
But it's the past coming up in the present, like you said.
Coming back in the present. And the trigger is never about, there's no blame. What I've learned and what has been the most empowering, the way to take your power back is to own that this is about you. The trigger is not about Steve. It's about me. And as soon as I can honor the emotions, which I think is really, really important, and then move through what is this scenario making me believe about myself, and how is that tied to programming from the past, experiences from the past when I formulated this opinion about myself, or that I had to people please to earn love, or whatever it is, right? It's like when you take that power back and recognize that it is about you, that's when things can start to really shift.
Because it's the acknowledgement, right? So the trigger is an opportunity. I always say triggers are treasures. I know you say the same because the trigger, it's my body is giving me a physical symptom that it's not safe. So when we're talking a trigger, let's break that down, right? Trigger, my heart is racing. I feel like Lulu says, I want to run. Her trigger is I want to run. I want to get the hell out of here. I don't want to deal with this. I want to run. Some people's triggers, if you're more of an anxious attachment, you're going to be, I want to fix. I want to fix. I want to stay. Talk, right? And that energy can be a lot, especially for an avoidant. And most likely avoidance and anxious people, we just attract each other because we're attracting each other because of our wounding. And to get into that secure attachment style, we have to take responsibility for it. My body is showing me a sign right now that I'm not safe.
Exactly.
And normally I want to run. That's a coping mechanism.
Are you a runner or a stayer?
I can be both.
Oh,
it really depends. I'm a disassociator. Oh, okay. So I just leave the space. Like when I feel overwhelmed, I just get out of my body and I won't remember anything. Oh yeah. So like I'll have a full blown argument. I'll have no idea what I said, no idea because I'm not there. So I'm like a spiritual runner, but I'm also a C-section baby. So C-section babies did not come through the birth canal. So they're way easier to disassociate. So anybody that's been a C-section baby, they're going to be disassociators. Because we never had to physically force our way into that first breath. When I'm triggered, what I notice is my heart rate changes. I start to sweat. I get anxiety. I call it the anxiety shits. Have you ever gone to a party and all of a sudden you're like, oh my God, I gotta run to the bathroom?
That's called IBS.
Yeah, let's take medication
let's take meds for that.
But it's my body saying to me, something has happened to you in the past in an environment. This environment is familiar.
Yeah.
Something's happening here that happened in the past that didn't go well. And I'm going to my body's letting me know, okay, let's be on alert here. So the amygdala in the brain is firing and it's saying, alert, alert, alert. Now, whether you're going into full red or just yellow alert, it depends on your body, right? So when you start to track your triggers, it's really important because you can say, okay, cool. I went to a family gathering. I felt like I didn't want to go. My stomach was queasy. My heart was racing. And then my brother said something about what I do for work. And what did I do? I erupted. I screamed at him. My coping mechanism was anger. And then I went home and I shamed myself because I blew the whole house up. I have some clients that get to this place. They went somewhere that their body didn't want them to go, and then something happens that proves their body right. And then their body goes, I told you so. And it's really, you're just yelling at yourself because you knew you didn't want to go from the first place.
It's fascinating.
The other part can be your body is giving you signs that something's going to go wrong, and you get to the place, or like, have you ever had that feeling of, I think my partner's cheating on me and I want to look through their phone, and you start to get that feeling.
Oh yeah. And you know.
And you know.
And
then you're like, but if I look, I'm a psycho.
Right.
I'm not going to look. But then for like days, you're triggered. You're thinking about everything. You're looking at everything that they're doing. You're starting to hyperanalyze because you're not in your body anymore. You're now in a full flight or fight response. Totally. Then you look at the phone, and then you find out that you're right. And then you're either going to shut down if you go into freeze, and you're going to be like, I don't even know how to handle this, or you're going to erupt, right, and go into fight or flight. So it's a nervous system response. Or
just walk out the door.
Yeah, and that's the avoidance without even having a conversation. So we have coping mechanisms from triggers. But when you can start to see, I'm triggered, can I pause and notice that I'm triggered before I react? And can I actually ask for space to process the emotion that's moving through my body? Because it's just energy and motion, emotion. It's moving through. Once you're in the emotional part of your brain, you guys, there's no logical stuff happening. You cannot be in the logical and the emotional part of the brain at the same time. When your nervous system has clicked in and you've gone into that place, you're no longer in the frontal cortex of the brain. This is science. Wow. You're no longer able to process logically. So can you consciously say, okay, I'm triggered. I'm going to go process this. See if this is me. Am I really not safe? Because you might not be. You might be in a relationship that sucks, but you might be in a relationship that's beautiful, but you're triggered from your old stuff from your ex, and it's coming up for you to deal with it. But the only way to move through that is to find the energy in the body, move it out of the body, and connect the dots into the program to step consciously back into a place where we're not triggered. And then we talk about it. Do not try to solve your triggers in the trigger.
Yeah, totally. And also, like, what's really interesting is that there were two things that you brought up were a lot of people were getting intuitive hits. There's information all the time that's being presented to us. And then there's also fear. And those two things can feel confusing in the body. Like, is this intuition? Like with the phone and the cheating, it's like you get an intuitive hit and you know, and then your behavior is out of fear. But how do you distinguish between intuition and is this a belief that's in the back that I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy of this relationship, you're in self-sabotage? Like how do you distinguish?
Self-study.
Yeah.
Self-study. You have to, in order to understand your intuition and your path, you have to be able to go into your own energy and understand who you are at your core and what you believe in. What is your authentic belief system? Yeah. Are you acting outside of your belief system to fit in, to be accepted? But until we know ourselves deeply, and most people that come to my classes, they're like, oh yeah, I'll meditate the brain. Well, yeah, because if you're trying to meditate with unbalanced energy, you're trying to levitate under a waterfall.
I love that.
It's just impossible.
Right.
I don't meditate. Well, you know what you need to do actually then? You need to get in the body and you got to get there. Because what happens is everyone's coming and you ask them, how are you doing? And they're like, I'm good.
I'm fine.
But then when we run the energy, the energy under the I'm good looks like this. Yeah. So they start to shake and convulse, and they have no idea that energy is pulsating through, but they've been running on fight or flight for 37, 40, 50, 60 years.
Exactly.
They have no idea because that's their baseline.
That's their baseline. No, it's crazy.
And then you're like, wait a minute. There's another way to feel, because once you move that anxious energy or that depressed energy out of the body and you connect back in, it's like, wait, there is peace. There is silence in the mind. It does slow down, but we can't do that until we get the mind and body in alignment. Yeah. And that's now everyone's,
I love that. I love the energy work. I think even with breath work, I feel like you can shift a lot. And I feel like both of them are definitely, this two different routes to the same destination.
So you're getting out of here. We just got to get people out of here. Because what I really see is we're a mind and a body and a soul. A soul that It has infinite information. And we used to be trained, as women especially, my body is going to tell me a yes or no based on what's good for my soul, and I'm going to act on that.
I love it when you do that in that class. You're like, show me a yes, show me a no, speak your,
Right? And because of the
so
body,
good.
it's like a yes. A yes is like, again, you can look at polyvagal theory scientifically in the mind. A yes is ventral. I want to connect. I feel safe. I want to share my story. I'm open. I'm happy.
Yeah.
I feel pleasure, right? Then we go into the sympathetic, parasympathetic areas of what's happening. And this, I'm not safe.
Yeah.
I'm not safe. So what do? Close the heart, shut down. I'm not safe to connect. And I'm either going to kill you if you come near my space, or I'm going to go and cry in a corner. And it's like, in reality, all we really want is to connect and be seen and heard and loved.
Yeah. It's like, it's fascinating because it is really quite simple in theory. And the fastest way to get there is through some sort of energy work where, you can release it from the body and create, because when you take us through an energy healing, the end result is that you're just lying there in this like bliss ball of love, and everything's calm, and you're just like, wow, this is what it's like to be grounded in my body, and to have released and create space where love can just flow and light can flow.
It's really even
It's
more
so beautiful.
simple than that. It's when I get out of the head and into the body, and I'm come fully into the present moment. I am that I am. As within, so without, as above, so below. Everything is safe, and I'm actually okay.
Yeah.
Now, our brain doesn't know if we're fighting a saber-toothed tiger or if our boyfriend is texting another girl behind our back.
True.
The energy is the same. Fear is fear is fear is fear.
Yeah.
So if you're running a fear story, your body is actually signaling the whole digestive system, lymphatic system.
Oh my God.
Everything starts to act differently. So people that are storing fat, that are overweight, most of them are malnourished because their digestive system is acting in fight or flight.
Yeah. Well, psoriasis after all years, like I had psoriasis of the scalp and the ears. And so that's manifestation from years and years and years, because before that hit my reproductive system, and then it went to the skin. And my body, again, the body is telling the story. It's like screaming for help. And what's fascinating is that every single ailment that you have is definitely a sign of not listening intuitively and emotionally to your body. It's not just a coincidence that you got sick.
Nothing is coincidence.
Nothing is a coincidence. And so
everything's creation. And then if we can see that and not be scared by it, because I think in the beginning that's a little bit overwhelming. Yeah. Then you kind of put the shame hat on of, so you're telling me that it's my fault that my dad cheated on my mom and I was raped. And like, no, it's not my fault that I was.
Nothing ever excuses poor behavior, but that whatever happened to you was in your pain body, but it did shape a story. The experience shaped a belief. And that belief triggers fear in your body.
Like, it's not my fault I was molested when I was a little girl. And for anybody that's been through sexual abuse, it's not our fault. Now, I'm not saying that. But that energy created shame in my body, which manifested into hypersexuality, which manifested into creating abuse, which manifested into really loving that my dad came to my defense whenever I was abused, which led me to secretly becoming pleasured by abuse and shaming that I liked that, and giving in this big, disgusting energy started to become who I thought I was. That started from that old wound. Right. That little girl that was really afraid, and she, and the pleasure that we feel from sexuality that is shamed in the way that it's handed to us for anybody that's gone through sexual shame. And I'm telling you, 90 to 95% of us have some sort of sexual shame that's blocking our life force energy. Absolutely. And we have to start being okay talking about it. One little kid is touched by somebody who was touched by somebody who was touched by somebody, and then they go and they touch their friend who touched their neighbors. And we just pass this shame around, this energy. And until we're willing to just look at it and say, there's nothing to shame. There's nothing bad or good about any of it.
I really appreciate how open you are with your past, because the more that you can just put it on the table and see it for what it is and stop keeping it like a secret, there's freedom in that also.
So much.
Massive freedom. And it's a piece of the puzzle.
It
So if we
always
can look
is.
at it, we can just see that yes, I mean, it's very unfortunate that horrible shit happens in this world. But we don't have to be a prisoner to those experiences.
No, and once I saw that that was the program, I could see it
Yeah.
through the energy work, through
Right.
the inner
Through the
child
inner-
healing. I
yeah.
was like, wow, my little girl is really driving my life because she feels unworthy of love unless she gives away her body.
Mm.
And that's the story. Okay, beautiful. I can see that. But once you can see the story and you recognize I've created 35 years of ick with that, well, what if I change that story and I start creating from a place of awareness? I start consciously creating. And it doesn't have to be the story anymore. Now it can be, I'm so glad I went through that because here I am able to share and inspire other women. And then life starts to go the complete opposite direction.
Totally, because you're coming from a space of you're born worthy, important, enough. You have everything that you need inside of you. We just separated from that. So you basically came home to yourself and your truth, the true essence. And then when you start operating from that space, it's just so beautiful and everything changes.
And then the people come into, your classes, which I'm so excited to see what comes in with your classes soon.
Yeah, me too.
Because it's just little mirrors of younger yous that may be older than you. It's not even, it's a mirror of a version of you that's in resonance. The law of resonance brings people in and that are ready to let go of just a little, like you let go one piece of the puzzle and you have no idea how much changes. Like one session can change everything. So then if you start consistently doing this work, now I'm not saying be a spiritual archaeologist and dig. Right. It's more like use the triggers coming up in your life as an opportunity for deeper healing to see which pattern is present.
That's beautiful advice. Yeah.
And which emotion do you find the hardest to move through?
Because my dad was very angry and he expressed it openly, that to me is very dangerous. So even sometimes Steve he becomes very emotional and it's heightened and he's not angry at me. He's just angry at whatever's going on. And he gets loud and that's sending me right to, I am not safe right now. And I'm literally having a fucking panic attack. And I'm like, damn, I got to get out of here. So I'm like, calm down. And then I can see the dynamic between my mom and my dad. And my mom would be like, just stop it, Paul, calm down. And here I am like, just stop it, Steve, calm down. You're freaking me out. And then I'm like losing my shit. And I'm like, that's not the way. That's not the way. It's like, I feel like there's emotions. There's also nervous system regulation, which is really our responsibility to notice what's going on. That anger is just anger and my partner is not, there's no threat to me at all. It's just reminding me of being with my dad and it could lead to punishment, right? It's like,
but how can you calm yourself down and how do you calm yourself down in that?
My practice is now like left hand on my heart space. I feel like I'm like, and then I just use the breath. So I lengthen out in the exhale to calm my system. It's like, okay, I am safe right now. This is just my partner angry at something. And he's allowed to express that. Like I now become a space holder for him to just feel. But it's still practicing because it's very new to me because I would be like, I'm out of here, you deal with that. I would be freaking out. Now when I see that it's not about me at all, it's just whatever he's going through. And also he's becoming more exposed to me allowing myself to be angry, to express that emotion. Because here I am, the most happy-go-lucky, everything's, good, and happy, and bliss. There's no anger in me. I don't have an angry bone in my body. You kidding me? That's just a fucking lie. That's a big fat lie.
It's a lot of spiritual bypassing if I've ever seen it.
Oh no, I told you, I'm a recovering bypasser of uncomfortable emotions. So now I'm like, oh, I feel really angry right now. And I'm going to give myself permission to just express it. However it comes out, because I feel like practice makes perfect, right? It just doesn't even matter as long as it's expressed. And, again, the research says if you express the emotion for 90 seconds, it literally goes away.
It's the suppression that's the problem. It's
the problem.
I could never be angry because, again, if you've got a belief that anger is bad, if anger is bad, you become powerless.
Yeah.
Because anger is actually power as well. Now, I'm not saying go be so angry that you kick things down. Like there's tainted, distorted anger. But anger is a simple, do you want to go and do this? And you can just, let's say, this is discernment of you got friends and they're like, hey, you want to go do cocaine? And you're like, oh God, if I say no,
what's going to happen?
And my body's telling me it doesn't want to do it. But if I say no, then I'm going to be rejected. I'm not going to get invited. And oh my God, all this is coming up. But the body is showing you that there's a no present. You're getting heat. You're uncomfortable. The hands are starting to shake. But you're like, if I say no, anger is simply witnessing that and saying, no, I'm actually not going to do that, and taking space.
Yeah.
And that's anger coming up because we've put a story around anger it's bad. Anger is power. It's the solar plexus. It's everything.
Yeah. Well, we are humans. And we were gifted with this ability that no real other species, I mean, I don't know, but maybe they feel. I have no idea, but we're allowed to express it in ways that, other humans. So we're allowed to feel rage all the way to ecstasy. So why not feel it?
I think we're the only race that suppresses how we're actually feeling.
Exactly.
Like if you look at dogs, for example, like I got 5 dogs at home. They're lovely a lot of the time. But sometimes if one of them takes the other person's food, I got one dog that gets really angry and snaps, which causes the other one to shut down and run and not eat and go and hide. But you watch them and they just kind of deal with it. Like they don't judge themselves for it. They shake, they pee,
right?
And then they just come back. And then 2 minutes later, they're licking each other's mouths. We as a race, we're like, that made me angry, but I didn't say anything. And now I'm going to stew about it. I'm going to stew about it for 2 weeks. That's what Andre does to me sometimes. He stews for 2 weeks. Like he's so mad at me and I'll be like, what is it? And he's like, well, on Tuesday, you didn't change the paper towel roll. And then on Wednesday, you left your plate in the sink. And on Thursday, and I'm like, oh, so all week you've been harboring all of this stuff instead of just saying to me, put your plate away. I'm out of my body a lot because I'm working hard. I'm not intentionally putting the plate in there to be disrespectful. It's just me. Now, yes, I need to learn how to be, the more that he points it out, the more that I'm like very conscious of it. Like I definitely don't fuck up hanging my towels anymore. He hates the way I hang my towels. And he has told me so many times that now I'm conscious of it. But
what does it mean when you don't hang up your towels to him?
To him, it's that I don't care about our house. That's that like I'm lazy and I put all this energy into everyone else, but not the home, not him, not our family. It's that everything else matters more. So he's not, so I'm not important. And I'm not important. I'm not loved. And that's his big issue with his dad. So that's his wounding, but he is important. I'm not doing that consciously. I'm just running around being a spaz because I am that way, but now that I know that towel thing is, as stupid as this sounds, saying it out loud is a big deal. I consciously hang my towel. Now, that doesn't mean I don't make a mistake.
I feel like it's like little acts of love. Like Steve knows, like, I really cannot stand an unmade bed. Like there's a ritual in that. Now, I know there's programming that with the thing, but it's just like something calms my whole space, my energy if the bed is made. And when you're in a camper van sometimes or in a small space, that bed needs to be made. And so now we make it a little ritual. And he's like, is it time to make the bed? And I'm like, yeah, baby, let's make the bed.
And you just have to verbalize that you like it too. And he's more than willing.
Yeah, because it does something to me energetically. It calms me down. It makes me feel like the space is clean, even though it's really tiny. It's like, those are like little loving acts that I feel like, it's just nice.
Yeah, it's so funny.
It's just nice.
I noticed, so I used to, every morning, my thing was I wake up, I fill the water bottles for the day, and I light my incense, and I just take my few minutes, Now Andre lights the incense. He wakes up, lights the incense, gets them going. So, it's just, if you could just verbalize in the moment, like, that's what I say to him. I go, the second I've done something that's triggered something in you, I'm not going to leave you or be upset. Now, mind you, I might get defensive for a second, because that's,
maybe.
But like, I'm going to come, me at this point, I'm going to come around. So just speak the truth. What we don't do, and this is what a lot of people do, is they're angry about things. They never express it. And then it comes out over something so stupid, like my breakup over the beef stew. I broke up with my ex about beef stew because I had shut down my voice for 4 months. And then when he ordered me beef stew, that was it.
You're like, I'm out of here.
I am done. You ordered me beef stew. I hate beef stew. I'm out of here.
Isn't it crazy?
And it had nothing to do with the beef stew.
So what is if you could break it down to just like a very simple formula,
For relationshiping,
especially for relationship, we're in relationship. We have to be in
The
relationships to
second
learn, grow, and
you-
expand.
the second something bothers you in your body, can you be conscious enough to catch it without reacting? And can you say, I'm triggered? And then can you honor it and just say to your person or your friend or your mom or your dad, hey, I'm experiencing a little trigger right now. I'm feeling sad. But you need to understand how you're feeling to be able to communicate, right? I'm feeling angry, and I'm feeling angry because this happened. And you also need to understand that not everyone is going to be able to hold space for your emotion if they haven't held space for their own
Emotions. That's
So-
what was happening with me and Steve.
So it's like, then you have to give some grace and be like, I understand that you can't, I understand, like, not that I'm more advanced, because I'm not saying that, but like, because
but I feel like there's emotional intelligence. There are people that are becoming more savvy with feeling your emotions. And I think that this is a very new practice. I feel like when I grew up, you do not show your emotions unless it's happy and calm, and that's it.
But
Except for my dad.
And that's not regulating the nervous system, because the regulating the nervous system, I hate to tell you guys, it's not feeling peace all the time, because
No.
that's impossible.
No.
It's impossible.
Yeah.
It's being able to experience a shift in your nervous system and be able to calm yourself down without blowing the house off.
Right.
And without causing World War III, being able to communicate, hey, I'm feeling a certain way. A simple one the other day was with, even with my business partner, with Christy, we're talking about manuals, and it's always the question of like, what's ours, what's Christy's, and what's mine.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Okay, yeah.
Now we all have different medicine.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Christy's really sick. I ran a cacao healing. I had nothing to do with doing it without her. If she was able to come, it would have been wonderful, but it was ours. So the conversation of her saying, hey, was really what I'm feeling left out, feeling like you're going without me. And then me being able to not take that personally and say, I'm so sorry you feel left out. I would never leave you out. In reality, this was how I was seeing it, right? And if two people can just hold space, and then it came up the other side when she sent a cacao manual out that said Christy's cacao, and I said, well, what about me? I'm feeling left out.
So I was like,
and it's like, then we can both kind of laugh and be like, wow, okay. So there's a mirror here where we're building something together, but there's still a uniqueness that needs to be able to exist within the duality of what we're, Yeah. But having a conscious business partner and conscious friendships and a conscious partner is everything.
What you guys are doing is, it's very evolved, because usually the triggers will start coming in, and then, they always say never do business with your soul sister or your best friend or whatever. And it's
I think you
wow,
should.
you guys, I agree. I think that, and this is just like looking at my own life. When I was alone, because I did not do a lot of partnerships, I would do like quick little flings or whatever, but I've never been really, Steve is actually my longest relationship ever. It's 4.5 years. A lot of people probably out there are like,
what?
I've been fucking married for 28 years. And you think like long-term relationships, 4.5 years, but that to me is like a celebration, because I had so much control when I was alone. I felt good. I felt happy all the time. I was never triggered. So it's really important to enter into these deep, meaningful relationships with sisterhood and your family and the people that are going to trigger you. It's like stepping into that and welcoming it, because that's when you really start to grow, learn, and expand, and start getting rid of the shit from the past.
And if you're not triggered, you're not growing. Like,
for sure.
Like, it's
for sure.
My relationship, I don't fight in my relationship. That's not true.
That's not
Someone's suppressing something.
Yes, exactly.
Because we're built for triggers. They're here for somebody to hold somebody else. And I think something that really has helped me, and for people with partnerships especially, is in this trigger, if you get to know your parts, and I always talk about this book, No Bad Parts, but if you get to know, so like the inner child
I put it on
healing.
hold at Libby.
Good.
Yeah.
The inner child healing that we do, right? Like, we have our 4-year-old, our 8-year-old, they need certain things. If you get really good at this, you can figure out which part of you is activated and what they need. But if you can get really good at knowing others, then you know their parts, the people you love the most, and then you can see what part is activated in them.
That's very true.
Then it's like, okay, cool. So I'm 4, and I just need to be told that everything's going to work out and everything's okay. but he's 12 and he feels isolated and alone.
Yeah.
So how do these parts hold one another?
It's so beautiful.
And how can we step into holding space for each other?
Instead
and
of
that's
getting triggered by each other.
And that's
Hold
the work of
space.
Jesus and Mary Magdalene. That's the work.
Yeah, you're right.
It's not that you're trying to create this relationship that's all love and light. That's just, it's bullshit, because we are human beings and none of us are enlightened or we wouldn't be here.
Right.
So we have shadows.
No, when we become enlightened, we die. And we go to
Something
unconditional
else.
love. That's just like pure bliss.
Yeah, but
Ecstasy all
honestly,
the time.
I'm not ready for that.
No.
I kind of like
course.
I like that I have an opportunity, and this is what changes is I hated who I was. I hated everything about who I was. I shamed everything about who I was. And now that I've stepped more into my authenticity, and I'm still learning more about what that looks like, and does that person drink wine, and does she stay out till 4 a.m, and maybe today she does, and does this person like social stuff, and does she like intense workouts? And I'm always, evolving.
You're knowing yourself. You're getting to know yourself.
And through that
and
process,
you get to choose.
I get to now for the next, hopefully, I get to live because I want to live. I get to create and make my life more and more better, and understanding that when things do get hard and shitty and when I am sick, it's just a sign that I'm out of alignment somewhere.
Yeah, the fact that you're doing this now at like for me, looking at someone like you and Christy, and how evolved and more into the true essence of who you are, and being completely authentic and human and everything, you guys are your life is going to be insane.
Our lives together.
Your lives are insane. All of us. But I started at 27, but I didn't really like the big shit started happening when I was 50. What was last year? Like the missing pieces. So with Steve, 4.5 years, the last 4.5 years has been huge, because I figured out the triggers. I figured out the belief system. I figured out.
And what were those things? What were your big things that we've worked through?
Mine for sure. Like, so with Steve, I manifested the most incredible, the dream partner. I did a lot of work, like 10 years of like, he's not here. So if he's not here, what am I doing energetically to block it? Am I afraid? Or is there something going on? So 9 months into our relationship, I believe it was 9 months, he made an announcement that he wasn't proceeding with his divorce. Now, Steve and he was separated. When we met, I met him completely separated in his own house, everything. But the fact that he was getting a divorce, and then all of a sudden he's like not getting a divorce. And I lost everything. I was just like, why is this happening? And I figured it out, that I've been running around with this frequency in the background that I'm not lovable and I'm not the one. Big, right? Every relationship, even if I manifest the most incredible dream relationship, it's gonna end. And to be honest, in those first 9 months, yes, it was absolutely amazing. And I felt so free, and I loved being in love, and I was really pushing my boundaries and becoming more vulnerable. But also, I was in a state of panic inside. When is he gonna leave me? When is he gonna leave me? When is he gonna leave me? When is this over? So it's like both. It's like I'm manifesting the big love, and I'm also manifesting the ending. So we broke up for a flash second. And that's when I figured it out. I went to this, again, as another spiritual guru. I'm like, she's like, tell me what's going on. And I'd be like, and I just scream. She goes, well, what does this mean about you, him not getting a divorce? And I just screamed at the time. I'm like, I'm not lovable. I'm not the one. And I was just like,
oh my God.
Mic drop. That's it.
And how long have you been running that story? What little girl is that?
53 years. Like, it was like literally the puzzle just went, and I saw the whole line of men, all my relationships. I'm like, holy shit. I'm walking around the manifesting queen with a frequency that I'm not the one and I'm not lovable. But I was able to heal it really, really fast because of all the work that I had done. I was able to transmute that energy quite quickly. And then our relationship, we came back together, and I was like, oh my God. Right? So that was really good.
I am chosen.
I'm the one. Well, and also, like, you got to choose yourself first.
Yeah.
But it's interesting because I know a lot of people who start the relationship strong, and then all of a sudden, eventually, your triggers are going to come up. The belief system's going to come up if it's still there, if you haven't done the work. And what's really cool, bringing it back to, someone that's 38 years old, is like, wow, you're like 20 years ahead of me, man. It's not 20, but
And not ahead.
No, I'm saying like energetically, I feel like the young people that are coming into the classes that have the honor of
Oh my
co-facilitating
God,
to,
they're like 2022 though. And
I'm
it's like,
blown away. I'm like, bring it on. Because if they start now, holy shit, it's just amazing.
but they didn't have this stuff when you were younger. So let's also
No,
like
they
that's,
didn't.
you know, like you were ahead of your time.
I was definitely ahead of my time, for
and
sure.
it hadn't really gotten to this state yet. And I think collectively, like the collective wound of humanity is that I'm separate.
Yeah.
I'm alone.
I'm separate.
I'm alone.
I'm not enough.
And I'm not allowed
worthy.
in.
Yeah.
I'm not allowed in to the kingdom. You know, look at all the religions trying to get back home. Home is here.
Here.
Right here. And that brings me to the most important thing I want to talk to you about is how we're going to step into this coming home tour.
I'm getting goosebumps right now. It's happening.
So we're going to go on an amazing tour together because Lulu has this amazing community everywhere in the world. She's been followed all around the world. So she's talking about how she's behind, but she has really built an epic community.
Thank you.
And we're going to go on a tour in the US and we're just going to share this medicine.
I'm really, really excited. I feel like from the research I've done, I'm like, this medicine really, I think Bali does have a really magical way. And also like so are Costa Rica and even Hawaii, but like there's birthing of modalities here that get born and really become quite like in 1 year, I would say, working with the energy, Kundalini energy, all of this, this energetic work, healing. It's like if we can take that to the States and expose people just to the medicine, our world is going to shift
immediately. And it's I think the big thing I want to nail home with this work is that this medicine was like birthed through without plant medicine. There's nothing psychedelic.
No.
And I love plant medicine. It's a great gateway. Trust me, I love it. But this modality that's kind of birthed through us, through Kundalini, shamanic Reiki, ceremonial space holding, body work, myofascial release, this work, one session can change your life.
It will change your life.
And
so
nuts.
To have the honor to like, this vision popped in, and then how crazy, like I had the vision, like, I don't know, 6 weeks ago, I wrote it in my journal. And then you came in, you was like, I had this vision. I'm like, what? Look at my journal. This is crazy. Like, I'm so excited.
So it's going to be like a rock tour, you guys.
It's like a rock. Yeah, exactly.
So we're going to come, we're going to bring the medicine. We're going to teach Reiki 1 and cacao, I think, to certain yoga studios, and then bring the real medicine and heal.
Hold healing space.
Through different spaces. We're going to do it in the US, potentially Australia, potentially Europe over the next year, and expand this and teach people how to come home to themselves and that they're their own healer. Yeah. I mean, like I hate when people call me a healer because I'm a space holder for healing.
Yeah. That's a really good way of
because I'm not healing you, you're healing you. You're making the conscious choice to take your power back.
And you made the choice, or there was curiosity. A lot of the groups, when they share in the very beginning of your sessions, is that, I read about it, saw it a few times. I was curious. And they show up, and then that's when it happens. It's like something happens and shifts, and then the new path opens for really deep, deep healing and then integration. It's all about integration.
Let's talk integration as well, because I think a lot of people come and they do weeks and weeks and weeks of crazy energy healing and no integration. What happens with that?
I feel like the whole key is like there's a puzzle. Again, bringing the curious investigator. It's like, wow, okay, so this piece of puzzle dropped, and it's a connection to a past memory, experience, past life, whatever it happens to be. It drops, and then it is basically giving you this piece of why your life is unfolding the way it's unfolding, or most importantly, how you feel in your own life. I feel like you can do all the things, and you can have all the accolades, and you can have all the money, and then when you go home, if you're feeling unfulfilled, disconnected, sad, depressed, anxious, all these things, then this piece of the puzzle helps you bring awareness to what actually is going on and why you feel like that. And then the integration is, I feel like the energy work and then the practices that you practice there's not a day that if you're not triggered, like if you're triggered, then that's when the practice comes. And it's teaching people a practice that helps them process their emotions, understand the trigger is linked to this piece of puzzle, What is the belief? And then how can I actually transform my mind and continually remember and bringing yourself back to your heart space.
And it's neuroplasticity in the end of the day, because we're rewiring our brain and rewiring
Like,
it.
Think about it. I have been walking around with that frequency for 53 years of that I'm not the one, I'm not lovable. You think that's going to just, I mean, thankfully it did go away, but the other one, I'm not appreciated or I'm not important. Those are still freaking flying high in my being, like, so I'm like, oh, here we go again. And I got to bring myself back to a practice, which you teach in Soul Path Mastery. And I teach it in, my virtual program, which is just a very simple practice to remind yourself that you are worthy. There's nothing to do. There's nothing to do. It's just remembering. And I know that's harder than.
It sounds so easy to say just be.
But it is, the integration happens because you have to on repeat. You can't be lazy. This is where the work begins. It's like, okay, so what emotion am I feeling right now? How can I take 90 seconds and process that emotion? And then go into the belief system and then remind yourself that that is not true.
It's not real.
It's not real.
It's all in my head.
It's all in your head.
In fact, all we are is love. And at the end of the day, everything's a choice. And your soul loves you so much that if you believe you're not the one, it will allow you to not be the one until you choose something different. And we have infinity to go.
Infinity.
So
and the thing is we can choose to look for evidence to fuel the negative beliefs, or we can choose to look and change the lens to look for how is everything really unfolding for me? And how can I create the life that I want to live? How can I be in peace? How can I embody peace and being grounded and open and
yeah. So we're really excited. So we start teacher training in 2 days.
Woo!
10 days of attunement, activation, sitting with spirit, working on clients, all the things. How is this energy work that you've embodied? I can't even wait to see what you do with it.
Oh my God.
How is it going to change your containers moving forward?
Oh, that's a really good question. I don't know yet. I'm totally trusting and surrendering that, just even saying yes to the training. And it's been such an honor to have you and Christy as guides because you guys you're dialed in, and it's super inspiring to see how you channel and all of this beautiful magic that you bring that's not in your head, right? And then to be able to actually teach it is amazing. You guys have done an amazing job, and it's such an honor to be one of your first students,
It
right?
gets crazy.
I'm one of your first students, and Asha, and it's just like, it's been such a journey since April, and now it's, what is it, November? Yeah, November.
Crazy.
And then by the time we end, so this tour is really calling me. I want people just to experience the medicine, be open. And I'm still going to be running retreats. I want to definitely run a few sacred feminine retreats to really help women come into their fullest power. Like if they, I call it microdose the medicine a little bit. And then they're like, yeah, let's do this. I feel like we have some really great spaces where we can host a deep dive.
Yeah, so we've got potentially Peru coming up. Bali.
I definitely love the idea of the source. I love Bali. Yep, I found a magical place, and we're going to go see that place. So wink, wink. Hopefully, all of that lines up. And I'm just open.
Yeah.
And it's in just the tour itself. Like if we can hit up even a handful or whatever it happens to be. And I have to be brave. Like I'm stepping out of Miss Little Brainiac Lulu and, Miss Control and really like surrendering to.
Yeah. And through that in your channel, how amazing has it been to see the versions of you, the past lives of you coming forward? I mean, this is really woo-woo stuff, but
it's woo-woo.
When you get out of your head and into your body, you are channeling the divine, and the divine is within each person, and you're remembering all of these past versions of you that have been medicine women, space holders, healers. And we've held so much through our being, and that's channeling out of you. It's insane to see it. You're singing, you're chanting.
I'm like, what? Who is that? I have gone home literally after a session and tried to hit some of those notes or try to hear them. And I'm like, what is that? So that is channeling.
It's channeling.
It's amazing.
Yeah. And you
It's
can't,
amazing. You
you
can't
t-
make
you-
it.
you
I'm
can't-
like,
it's crazy. And you've embodied so much. So it's an honor. And I cannot wait to travel the world and share this medicine with you. And I can't wait to see how many people you have already changed so many lives. So many people that I know have come through you.
In the 1 year, Chelsi, that you've been doing it consistently and you've added more classes at the Path and things like that, how many people's lives have you touched?
5,000 students this year have come through.
Wow.
5,000.
5,000. And how many people are on the planet?
8 billion. We got a ways to go. But I say that, right?
No, but that's 5,000 people have
5,000.
experienced the medicine, and literally most of them are on a totally different trajectory.
It's pretty amazing. And I think when we get this out of Bali so that it can go to the Western world where we really need it.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say this year I help 5,000 people, Christy helps 5,000, you and Ash help 5,000. That's 20,000.
That's amazing.
Right? We've got
That makes me just like cry.
6 other practitioners coming through. Let's say they each help 5,000. That's 30. That's 50,000 people in a year that change their lives. So we can instrumentally and exponentially change the world just by shining our love. And there's nowhere in the world I'd rather be than holding space with you guys.
Ditto.
So buckle up. We got a big training ahead.
Buckle up, Buttercup, because woo,
we're coming. So if you want to get in touch with Lulu, tell the group how to get in touch and work with you.
I mean, swellwomen.com. Instagram is swellwomen. It's plural. SWELLWOMEN. My personal Instagram is lulu.agan. You'll see a lot of replication with, but I'm going to start sharing my journey because I mean, there's like photos that are super vulnerable that I'm going to post from that healing session that we did together. And it's like, wow.
So get in touch with us.
Mm-hmm.
Start doing the work.
Mm-hmm.
If you have any places to do breath work or energy work or receive Reiki, trust that the calling is real. It's the most beautiful journey of your life. And just love you so much, Lulu. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Chelsi.
Well, I think that episode sells the program itself. So Soul Path Mastery is where many people begin, including Lulu, how to hold themselves with compassion, awareness, and skills. And for those of you that are ready, reach out to us. We're taking new clients for 2026. And if you really feel ready to step into leadership, facilitation, and retreat work, our teacher training provides the structure, the safety, and the embodiment to step into that role. You don't need to rush this path, though. You just need to listen. Follow your calling. There are links in the show notes for how to get in touch with us, and I look forward to hearing from you soon. I hope you loved this episode.